All right, so just for a few moments here, guys, let's take position on our mat, lay on our back, relax your arms. So think of it like doing Shavasana first. Just a minute or two, guys. You kind of fidget. I like to lift my chest, throw my shoulders under, arms down my side, palms up. Melt into the floor. Start to connect to the subtle sensations of the body. Start to connect to the breath. A slow inhale in your nose and a slow exhale. So if you're just joining, we're starting Shavasana, but an active Shavasana, which means breathing. A deep inhale in your nose. As you inhale, you feel your abdomen lift, and then the breath moves up into your lower ribs, then to your upper chest. You might even hold for a moment. And a slow exhale. Just take a few more of those deep, slow breaths in and out your nose, setting an intention for your practice or you like. Remember, a little philosophy here. In yoga, the ancient study, the first limb of yoga isn't actually asana or pranayama. In Ashtanga, that's third and fourth limb, respectively. The first limb, the first practice is really the yama, it's called. And that represents basically behavior practice. And the first behavior we practice is nonviolence. It's called ahimsa. And it's important to remember that in Hatha Yoga because some days we're doing really strong practice and you don't always have to stop, wait for something to hurt to stop, right? I was exercising yesterday and I hurt my back, right? And it didn't hurt before, and it's something I always do, and it's not that bad, it'll heal. But it reminds me I have to stop sometimes before, it's just an act of compassion toward my body. And that's a good way that we remember what's called ahimsa. It's basically the first and main practice of intentional yoga. Just not only obviously nonviolence to ourselves, but to others and to earth. But just a little philosophy there for you, how you're relating to your body, how you're behaving in respects to its condition and treating it. Okay, let's do this, guys. Let's bring our knees into our chest. Start to squeeze your knees in. Start to draw circles. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through a few movements here in our back. It's just going to kind of be like slow movements, pausing very briefly in spots, okay? So you're going to kind of have to follow along today. Follow the leader. All right, legs go back forward. Arms go to the back of the room. So I'm going to just kind of go through some movements. You're going to feel your body. If you can, you might have to glance at the screen, but try to listen mainly. Now keep your arms to the back. This is a little tough. Slide your feet together, knees fall apart. Now it's called extended konasana. So reclining extended. My knees are open. I press the soles of my feet together. Now just a couple times. I bring my thighs, knees together. I squeeze. I let the knees fall apart. I bring the thighs together. Squeeze. I let the knees fall apart. Thighs together. Squeeze. Knees fall apart. Let's keep going. Thighs together, knees together. Press your lower back down. Let your lower back arch. So my feet press down, my knees press together. Lower back press down, lower back arch. Arms are still back. Lower back presses flat. Lower back arch. It's like a cat-cow, right? Lower back down. Now listen, bring your knees into your chest. Go slow. Arms are still to the back. Legs go a little bit forward. My lower back stays down. Knees come in. Lower back comes down. It stays down. Legs go forward. Knees come back in. So as you see, it's like just a few now. We're kind of moving through some space. Legs go forward. Lower back down. Okay, now listen. Arms go down by side. Push your arms lower back down. Squeeze your heels to your butt. Keep your lower back down. Straighten your legs. Flex your feet. Point your toes. Bend your knees. All the while, your lower back stays down. Okay, that's key. Straighten your knees. Flex your feet. Bend your knees. Point your toes. Squeeze your heels to your butt. One more. Straighten your legs. Flex your feet. Now, arms to the sky. Reach up. See if you can tap your shin to start. Lower down. Shoulders, head down. Tap your shins. Lower down. Last few. Now, head and shoulders down. Arms are going to go down wide. Palms face down. Go slow. Easier to bend your knees. Stronger. Straighten your legs. I'm just going to alternate my legs here. One is up to the sky. Easier looks like this. Kind of like you're walking in space, but on your back, right? As you get a little bit more into this, okay, you start to go a little bit faster. Should be pretty difficult, right? Now, go back up or medium difficult. Legs up, roll out your ankles, please. Bridge posture. Feet down slowly. Hips lift. Now, walk your arms either to grab your mat or even under your body, intertwining your fingers. Holding your bridge, feeling the body now. What we call the potentiation, so very subtle engagements to increase the overall quality, activity of the body. So press your big toe down, pull your heels to your butt, posterior tilt, lengthen through your core. 3 more breaths. Big inhale, it's just kind of like a warm-up bridge there. Lower back comes down, feet widen, knees rock side to side. Listen, your arms don't go wider to the back halfway. This is a big difference. Palms face up now. My arms are reaching kind of like an angle. So not to the back, like we did beginning, not to the side like we did earlier, but kind of in between. And now I'm rocking my knees side to side, rotating my hip joint. Okay, let's keep going. Knees back in the center, arms come down to the T again. Palms face down. Just take it easy. Now, with my feet hovering, I start to go side to side. And I'm just going slow here. I'm not really going crazy, okay? Side to side. Eventually, take it into a twist. Knees drop right. You can scoot your hips to the left. So it's a kind of a little bit different way of practicing today. Knees back to center. Not the whole practice, but for now, please twist to your left. So your knees will drop left. You might scoot your hips to the right, and you might let your head fall to the right. So I had you move side to side, right? Then I had you kind of relax into the stretch more. All right, let's come back to center. Remember the first kind of position here? Soles of the feet together, knees fall open. Arms are going to be not down by side, not wide, but in the middle. Okay? So like here. Got it? Press down with your palms. Now listen, press your lower back down, press your feet together, keep your knees open, and then hover your feet just a couple inches. Okay, so my feet are hovering. If you want a little bit more, hover the upper body and the arms. Okay? Now listen, if you want the whole one here, hands on the outer thighs. See if you can try to squeeze your thighs together, but you're not allowing it to. You're pressing your outer thighs also into your hands. So it's this kind of weird hollow body crunch. Just take a moment here, not too long. Go slow. Head down, arms down, feet down. Feet stack under the knees now. Okay? Lower back presses down. Hips lift, bridge posture. So pay attention here, yogis. Slowly, keep your left foot in bridge. Your right leg goes forward. So now I straighten my right leg a little bit. A breath or two here only. Slide your right foot back into symmetrical bridge. And then your left foot slowly tries to walk forward to a straight-legged bridge. Notice my left foot is flexed, my left hip is lifting, my navel's pulling in. So it's a one-legged full bridge with one assisting bent knee bridge. Walk your left foot back in, please. And then slowly lower down. Take a moment to neutralize while I demo. Knees over hips. Last few things here, yogis. Now, what I'm going to do is kind of draw circles with my knees. So my knees, now, you want to always look out for tension pulling your lower back arch off the floor. So my lower back goes down, and I start to draw some circles with my knees in space. You should feel some slight abdominal work here. More strong is legs straight, but that is a very challenging form. So be easy. I'm drawing circles here. Now, there is eventually the pelvic pop here too, where your pelvis is going to kind of lift as you come back through your circle with your knees closer. All right, reverse directions. Press your lower back down, right? Go slow, yogis. Back to center. Legs up. Here we go, arms wide. Legs go wide, legs come back together. Legs go wide, legs come back together. Press your lower back down. Flex your feet if you can. If it's too much, you're here. Bend knee, okay? And if you can speed it up a little bit, eventually, remember we did forward and back? Now listen, hold your legs open. Inhale, reach your arms to the back, press your lower back down. Exhale, crunch through your legs. My legs are spread wide, my feet are flexed. I did a little crunch between my legs here. Big inhale, legs up, together, head, shoulders down. Last bridge, feet press down, hips lift. Now, this is a twisting bridge, okay? If you'll watch me, if you're new, my elbows kind of press down. Oh, excuse me, arms press down to start. My right hand reaches over. I lean a little to my left. Do you see how my right shoulder is lifting? Not easy to see on Zoom. My right hand reaches over to the left, kind of above the shoulder, and then my back comes back down, bridge. Lean to the right, press through my left foot. Look over to the right, reach over to the right with your left hand. So it's this moving bridge, okay? Bridge is a posture. We're like really rigid and stiff in the spine. Even though we'll do a lot of asymmetries in the leg in bridge. We'll do konasana. We'll do one-legged swings forward and back, side to side. We'll do sliding bridges. We don't actually ever really move the spine in a complex form, or rarely. It's good to throw that in there, yogis. That's how you develop more of that complex kind of stabilizing. Back to neutral, down to your butt. One last stretch. Right ankle to top left knee. Thread your needle. Last few breaths here. We're not going to hold long. So a nice little back sequence there to start practice.
Second side, please. And here you slow down and you kind of, mentally digest all those movements. I'm sure a lot of those, even though a lot of them weren't too technical, but doing them in all those kind of reforms, kind of running through, could be a little bit of a mental puzzle. All right, Leia's going crazy this morning. She's picking up every loud toy she has and throwing it around. So listen, guys, I want you to take your time and finish up your hip stretch. And then eventually, if you want to do a little happy baby or plow, it's a moment to kind of just do your own thing. I was really giving you direction there for a few moments. So now you come into a moment. In an intermediate practice, I'd say plow pose, right? You swing your legs up over your body. That's a big posture. It is weight bearing on your neck and a hyper range. Again, tension causes spinal rounding. A lot of times in yoga, that's not recommended to do, but in plow, it is a space where we do that. Okay. Whenever you're ready, it could be a half an hour because you want to meditate in shoulder stand. You're going to rock forward and back, grabbing your hamstrings. You're going to come up to a tabletop position. So you rock forward and back and swing it around. Now, we already did so much spinal movement, so I'm not going to do much right here. I'm just going to go right into plank work. If you'd rather do, chaturangas or handstand or something like that, it's fine. I'm going to give your wrist a break this morning right here in the beginning. Come down to the forearms. Boom, right into a more meditative full body strength position. We already did a couple full body strength positions, but this is that first really strenuous one probably. All right. Now, I will give a little bit of a challenge. So you're going to hold forearm plank. You're going to walk your left foot wide off your mat, your right foot wide off your mat. And then you're going to walk your left foot back into the center more, and then your right foot back into the center. So it's this little kind of step wide, step together. Opposite foot steps wide, sticks together. So just to kind of put a little twist on a plank. Yeah, you're good at stabilizing in a plank now because we've been working on that for a year in this class, but now can you add a little bit of movement in a plank and still stabilize your core, your back, engage your butt and your legs? Let me give you another 30 seconds to work in there. So remember we did like butterfly legs moving and we did legs moving on our back. So now you're doing that kind of same thing, but in a tension, weight-bearing way. So a little wide stepping plank, right? Next time your feet are back into the center, take it down to your chest. Let's do a little cobra work. Slide your hands near your lower hips, or your lower ribs, excuse me. Remember, guys, that cobra works with bridge. Cobra is more lower back and middle back, whereas bridge is a little bit more like butt and hamstrings on the average. So we're kind of connecting that whole line. Elbows hug in, press your feet, pubic bone down, point those toes. We're going to lift our chest. And then we're going to lower down. Inhale, lift the chest. Notice I am using my back. I'm not trying to super bendy right now. That's next. Okay, lower down. And you're going to take maybe like 3-4 more of those. And as you get more warmed up, activated, you could start to use your hands, pressing your pubic bone, feet down. You're going to lift up all the way. And then you're still going to use some back muscles to lower down. So we're going up and down in either gentle Cobra 1 or a full Cobra 2. Remember the idea, yogis, as I lower down, I try to use back muscles to resist. So that's called like a negative. A really good way to develop any concentric contraction, any single exercise in a concentric form is to work on the negative, the eccentric form. So say it's a pull-up. You jump up on the bar, you use like a bench, you get up there, chin over bar, and you slowly lower down. And then you have to jump up again and you slowly lower down. So in a sense, jumping up with chin over the bar here would represent the top of the cobra, and you're slowly lowering down, resisting with your back muscles, okay? If you learn to apply what that negative, or what we call eccentric contraction, the opposite, let's say, of the concentric I mentioned, which would be the actual pull-up or being able to lift up in a full cobra with your back, that's how you develop it, yogis. That's one of the tricks. And you know, it's not commonly known, right? I studied myology, so I know this, that your body uses a lot of energy to lengthen. It's not commonly thought, oh, I'm stretching. Your body uses a lot of energy in the calcium against the gradient. You know, especially if you're tight, your body in the cross bridge mechanism, you know, the calcium has to go against the gradient. I won't get into the technicalities there, but your body uses a lot of ATP, right? So cellular energy to do that. So you can be tired from stretching. You use a lot of energy.
Get out of there, guys. Child pose. Press it back. Now I want to get the full body moving. So what we're going to do this morning is just a kind of slow flow to start. Think of what we did on the back, but now kind of more in standing forms. We're not going to hold very long, but we will pause. So both stillness and movement, okay? Here we go. First down dog. Let's get there. So we did a little child pose. Now we're in a little bit of a dog. I suggest pedaling your feet out always. One of the main things I like to do in the beginning of yoga practice is to loosen up my toes and feet. They're trapped in shoes all day. That big barefoot lifestyle is really emerging in the modern wellness. You know, people are known now being more barefoot throughout your day. Do your foot exercises, your arch lifts, do your calf raises, build the ankles and the feet, do your shin raises, right? That's really emerging now in a lot of the biomechanic wellness sectors, okay? Slow flow, bend your knees, look forward. Let's walk to the front of our mat, taking our first big kind of forward bend here. Inhale, we're gonna half lift. We're gonna take 2 more of these. Exhale, forward fold, so 3. Inhale if you feel good. I like to work on maybe even reaching my arms forward, pulling my belly in more. Exhale, forward fold. 1 more, inhale, weight to the toes. Take 3 breaths. If you want a little bit more, intertwine your forearms or throw your arms behind your back or walk your hands to a side. So slow flow, not pausing anywhere too long. Big inhale, go slow, chair posture, butt down, arms high. Notice what I'm doing here, a couple little bounces. Sometimes chair is too rigid. You know, you find that more often than not in yoga. So I like to have you do squat kriya a lot, where you're up and down in chair. And here I like this little bounce. And that would be like a ballistic contraction. So it's not really dynamic necessarily. It would be dynamic, but it's very ballistic in nature, very small and intense. Okay, let's get going. Let's stand up. Feet together. Classic yoga here. Right hand, left wrist, left palm to the right. Big inhale, and it's a side bend, yogis. Weight into your heels. Press the padding of your big toe down, but lift your toes. So the padding of the foot, yogis. It's this. So I want to lift my toes, but press this big mound of the big toe down. So that's a pronation. Okay, center please. Left hand, right wrist, reach up. Side bend. Big inhale, back to center. Hands intertwine, right knee lifts, bind. Lift the knee into the chest. This is a posture we've been working a lot lately. What I want you to look out for here, guys, 3 main things is shoulder position, spinal position, and scapular position. So I really want to work on my chest lift. There's spine. My shoulders back and down, okay? Shoulders back and down. Always remember, it's classically said in the therapeutics, Shoulder blades back and down in your back pockets, okay? Big inhale. Second side, please. Right foot down, opposite pinky bind. Knee lift. And I really want you to work on like lifting your knee high here. You see how I can really bring it up. Now, the better you get at this, the lower you're gonna pull. It's just like we do it on our back. It's called wind removing pose. In gentle yoga, I have you do it here, right? Same exact body form, except here you're gonna have good posture. Your shoulders are gonna be, your head's not gonna round forward, okay? But here you're much more likely to do that. Nice, big inhale. Bring it down, step open to the your mat here, widen your feet, turn your feet out, please. Now, it's kind of the same thing. We're gonna go side bend here, but for a moment, I really want you to get deep into those legs. It's our second chair, but the glute chair. So my knees are over my heels. Inhale, reach your arms high. If you want the full one here, it's more strengthening. Intertwine your fingers behind your head. Now, shoulders back and down, elbows pull back, knees bend. Just a little side bend. As you can see, the challenge is starting to really develop. I like the idea of about a good 15 to 20 minute warm up. We're progressively warming up. The challenges, range, strain, and then you go into peak. Peak of class is like 25 minutes probably. Back center, sit low, second side. Nice. Yeah, it's a very tough posture. I didn't say the easy version, but it's just kind of like left hand on left thigh, lengthen through your core and twist your chest a little bit more to the sky, right? Sorry, sometimes I forget the easy versions. Sometimes I forget the strong versions. Now, a little bit different here, yogis. Arms up, back to center. Now listen, turn your left toes, pivot to the right. Boom, right to lunge. A lot of leg work, guys, okay? Reach up nice and tall, hands in prayer at the heart. Bend, hinge the chest, twist, left elbow outside right thigh. Lengthen through your core. Breathe.
You know, I often speak to the idea kind of wringing out your digestive tract. I've spent a lot of time trying to find research on that, and I haven't been able to find any really true data. You know, does this heal the digestive tract and cleanse it? But intuitively, my heart tells me, of course it does. Your organs, we do know, love to be palpated. They love to be like massaged, let's say. Okay, let's go back to inhale, high lunge.
And we're basically just gonna go right to our second side, yogis. So, you're just gonna pivot. Remember, we're not holding too long, okay? So take your lunge, first lunge here. If you're up for it, we're gonna hands in prayer, we're gonna hinge and twist. I mean, the reason I intuitively think that, yogis, is your whole digestive tract is muscular. Your smooth muscle, it's called. What's moving your food through your digestive tract is muscular contractions. And just like every muscle, like your arm can't work as well if your right muscle's your shoulders hurt or stiff or overworked. I mean, what if that happens in the digestive tract? And how do we work that? By kind of like stimulating it and moving it. Intuitively for me, twisting is key for my kind of gut and abdominal health. This kind of deep compressive twisting where this knee is coming up across. Okay, high lunge, inhale. Now turn open to the side. So we already did a couple straddles. You actually already did this position. Little bend in the knees, feet parallel, lift the chest. Here we go. We'll take our straddle. Headstanders, go ahead. Pull on the floor, please. Remember, we did this, yogis? That's like the same thing, right? Okay. Take 3 to 4 breaths. If you want to explore, by all means. You know, the exploring kind of just represents that kind of curiosity in the practice. That's key to go off on your own and just What can you feel? Learn about your body. Maybe, it's important that you make some subtle mistakes. Ooh, you walk over there and you're like, ooh, that felt weird, right? I don't want it to be like too safe in a sense. Go slow, please. Bend knees. We're going to rise up. No rush. Step to the front of your mat. Okay, separate your feet a little bit wider. Turn your feet out. Inhale, reach your arms high. Yogi squat, get low. So we take the squatting position. Crow is always on the table, pretty much. It's the same position. This is crow, right? So if you wanted to plant your hands, have those elbows in, shift weight onto those arms, go ahead. If not, 3 more breaths here. Push the elbows into the knees, knees into the elbows. Lift that chest. A couple of days ago, someone asked me from the classes, they were looking for 5 stretches to do very regularly to get more flexible, because they're still not getting more flexible and it's been a while. And yoga squat's one of them, okay? It's a really game-changing physical position. Go ahead, go slow, hands plant, feet walk back, right to plank, second plank. But now adding on side plank, heels left, right arm out and up. If you remember from core class this week, we did this stuff. We did this. Yoga core is pretty much the strongest class I probably teach during the week.
So we're holding the side plank. You're always welcome to drop a knee. Even though on the knee here is not really a side plank, it's still in the same plane. But a true half side plank would be on the forearm and on the outer knee or shin, because you're going to get that building strength. This wants to drop, but you're not letting it. As soon as you put the knee down, there's no weight here. Okay? We'll do our second side of side plank, please. If I wasn't clear, what I meant there, this is not side plank. Even though you're going to get some of that, the true side plank looks like this, or which one I like is this. Because this still wants to dip, but you're not letting it. So what you're getting there is the stabilizing between your waist and your hips. And that's like usually considered the most true core work, okay? If we stabilize the end of the hip, that hip is supported, doesn't want to dip. It's a great pose still, but just in case, you always do it that way. Do your gentle side plank like this some days, okay? It's totally doable. It's fantastic. All right, so we're gonna keep moving. We're not holding too long. We're just keeping moving today. Back towards plank, down to your chest. We're gonna go for the locust today. I wanna really start doing this pretty much every class. It's just too good not to. I'm gonna go arms forward today because we're going big, okay? On our inhale, we're gonna lift our chest and our arms. It's like you're gonna shake somebody's hand, my thumbs are up, and then I'm gonna lift those legs. So locust is everything lifts. And then you're gonna lower down. Our first round here was cobras. Now it's more strength, less range. Inhale. And exhale, go ahead. Continue in a more meditative, personal space. So how do we know that this is yoga? Are you practicing making it more of a meditative experience? What does that mean? More self-aware? What's the main practice of yoga I mentioned? Ahimsa. Let's call it kindness. Are you doing it you're working that body because it needs work, but are you being kind at the same time? I mentioned the idea, I had a reminder. Sometimes you have to be compassionate in a level where you stop. You don't stop because it hurts. You stop before that. You have such a level of compassion for your body that you stop early. Okay. You don't wait for it to hurt to stop always, right? Are you making a meditation, being calm and present, listening to your body? Are you just straining and forcing, taking a very athletic approach? It's subtle difference. Okay, so let's get down there, take a moment. We're gonna press back to child pose. And we are doing a little extra planks. I meant to say that earlier, but I wanna bring in
planks, all right? We're gonna come down to the forearms. So we did a high plank, and we did a forearm plank earlier with the wide step. So now I am gonna do the rotational plank today. I love this one. I wish we could be doing it more. Let's bring the feet back, hips width distance. Now, there's not like the best substitute here, because if I do this one, it's not really a good substitute. All right, so down on your forearms, toes tucked, drop my heels to the left. The key is to keep both forearms down, the inner edge of my right foot, the outer edge of my left foot. Short hold, last couple breaths. So I am like this, it's hard to see. See how I'm on the inner edge of that right foot, outer edge of my left foot. And then I keep my forearms down, I bring my heels to center, and then boom, I bring my outer heels down. On the other side. So outer right foot, inner left foot. It's called a twisting plank. We always do side plank and regular plank, and we lack a rotational plank stabilizing. So good for like right here, this lower oblique connection. And if it's too much, I get it, you know, it's a tough practice. We have about 10 more minutes of challenge, and then we're gonna stretch more, okay? So take your time, back to plank. We're gonna keep going. Let's strengthen our shoulders. Walk your feet to your elbows for dolphin. Pull your chest through your arms. Try to press your feet toward the floor. Breathe. If it's easy and you wanna lift the legs, step your feet closer together. Right leg can lift. I want you to try to relax the back of your neck, yogis, okay? If that's easy and you want to hop up on a wall, you want to do forearm balance, you know, we didn't do chaturangas and stuff, so usually one of the main preps for our big arm balances is like push-ups, okay? So if you have a bigger variation, if you take a rest, come back to dolphin. We have about another 30, 40 seconds maximum here.
Nice. Yeah, just don't let those elbows go too wide. Dolphin is such a, you know, I find, remember yogis, weak muscles basically tend to like hurt sometimes. Your muscles by definition are meant to be strong and be able to contract well against weight or tension. So when I get those arms above the head and I start to push down, it's going to be tough at first, but you're really going to strengthen the big deltoids. Now that can actually be problematic long-term also. So there's benefit there, but if you're always just strengthening deltoids, it can make rotator cuff very weak and the shoulder will become unstable. Remember that your deltoids aren't really stabilizers. It's more those smaller muscles, the four sits or rotator cuff muscles that right above that joint capsule, okay? So when you're done, now we go for a more stretchy back bend. Cobras and locusts, now into the camel. It's a big one, okay? So we're gonna rise up. I do want your knees about a foot apart. I don't wanna see knees together unless you consider yourself an advanced physical yogi, okay? Arms swing behind. Now, a couple options, fingers face up on the glutes would be more stretchy. I do not wanna see your butt sticking out. I wanna see those hips forward. If you wanna go a little bit more strength in range, I lean towards this one now for me because I'm kind of hypermobile. Intertwine my fingers, I roll my shoulders back, I lift my chest and my heart, and you're gonna have a nice camel experience for 2 to 3 breaths. Big inhale. Let's keep moving to the next mental physical puzzle. If you need a quick cat-cow or a child pose, good intuition. Downward dog is next. It's just like a vinyasa, right? We just use camel instead of cobra there. So feet step closer together. So narrow step. Inhale, right leg rises, open up your hip. Don't forget, this is the, you know, the opportunity to kind of throw in a little handstand hops. Basically, anytime a three-legged dog comes into play, that can be an option, okay? So you're in that three-legged dog, opening up your hip, taking a nice active hip stretch. When you're ready, inhale, right leg's gonna go high. Right knee, forehead. Let's step our right foot inside of our hands. Let's get back to that weight-bearing leg strength. Inhale, rise it up. Okay. And we are gonna go for the warrior three. If you'd like to do a reverse prayer. Now, reverse prayer really starts with just fists behind you, and then you cross more, so it's opposite elbow grab. With practice, you start to walk with like the hands up the spine, and the palms turn toward each other. So you actively press your thumb, index finger together, which bring your elbows back. Now start to hinge your chest, pause, start to tiptoe your back foot in, and then lift your back leg. So ideally, chest, back leg parallel to floor. A bent over hinge, balanced position. Last couple breaths. Close the door. How slow can you go? Bend standing knee, land that foot back. Usually we suggest keeping that long mudra so the arms stay back there. All right? Big inhale. You can exhale, release your arms. Inhale, arms go high. Hands plant. Right foot backing up. Here's your opportunity to flip your dog if you'd like. Taking side plank a little further. Lift left heel, pivot on ball left foot, right foot off your mat behind you. Lift hips, top arm reaches forward. Spin your chest more to the sky. Three-legged dog on the inhale. Down dog on the exhale. Last opportunity for your up dog. Inhale, shift forward to plank. Bend elbows. Hovering halfway now. Top of the feet turned down. You know, whereas up dog a lot will come into play in class early, it's really like, in my opinion, like a high level, intermediate, if not advanced yoga posture. Down dog on the exhale. This is our one kind of like vinyasa form flow, okay? Feet are stepped together. Inhale, left leg rises. Open up the hip. I saw some of you do some your own things there. Flip dogs already or handstand hop. Take 3 breaths here. A lot of times we'll do this in the beginning of class, doing it here in the end. You might find a little bit more kind of what we call reducing of muscular resistance. So we're trying to open up that hip. Sometimes it's very hard because we're tight. So if you do some stuff before, you might find a different experience, okay? Inhale, left leg high, please. Nice and slow. We're going to shift forward to plank. The only step forward here today, class. Left foot steps inside that left thumb. And then no rush. We're going to rise up to high lunge. The modern biomechanics is very clear. Legs are first, okay? 50% of your working out, whether it's cardio, stretching, strengthening, should be legs. 30% should be core. Only 20% for your arms. Because there's a good reason for that, okay? Reverse prayer if you have it. So this is our big arm bind of class. So we're not going to do like eagle today or Gomukhasana. The fist, the opposite elbow crease, but you try one more go at it, the hands back. It's an active release too. It's really good. You're not like forcing the arms there like you would in Gomukhasana, or it's not like closed chain like eagle. So it has to be active to get there. Now hinge your chest halfway forward, pause there. So they call that Deka, middle lunge. And then you tiptoe your back foot forward and you get a good hold here in the warrior three with optional reverse prayer. Remember that whatever leg's up and back, yogis, right leg for most of us, the right hip has to drop down a little bit. Take your time getting there, eventually finding your form and working in that space. You know, this posture, it's very what we call, it's the sagittal. So it's very forward and back, up and down. So you're not like twisting. You're not, side bending at all. So if you're ever going to bend over and stabilize on one leg, this is where it all starts. And it still can be very, very difficult for like an advanced practitioner. Okay. especially when it's strung together with a lot of things. Now, how slow can you go? You want to keep the arm bind as you transition back to a lunge. You pause for a moment. You always get this question, does my heel go back in lunge or does my heel go forward? And the answer is both. It depends on your intention, okay? I tend to keep that heel a little bit more forward. Inhale, arms high. Exhale, plant hands. Three-legged dog, open up the hip. Here's that last opportunity for your flip dog. Left foot off your mat behind you. Yes, you spin your chest, hips to the sky. You guys all know this posture. It's a very kind of twisty, back-bendy, like side plank form. So it is very, in a sense, unique and challenging. Now, we'll meet back in three-legged dog. Your last chance for a vinyasa chaturanga. Only these 2 rounds today. If you'd rather do handstand, headstand against the wall, take it now, please. All right, so a little bit different here. So I do want to do an active pigeon today. So we're not going to do the resting pigeon. Okay, down dog, please. Right shin forward. Now, the key here, guys, is to crawl your back leg back. We start here. I want to crawl my left foot. See how it lifts my knee and pulls it back. I walk my hands back. My right hip goes down. Now, a lot of times you'd say block, bolster, blanket underneath the hip, but if you always do that, it's almost going to keep you too lifted too. So a block is a pretty high prop here. I like blanket better. Here we go. We're going to do active pigeon today. Now, I do want to be clear. This type of work, it is compressing the back. So pull the belly, lift the chest as my left heel pulls back. You can even see my left leg lifted because it's so active, my left knee. I want to pull my chest up. Okay, with practice, you might be able to even lift an arm or both arms. I'm a big believer in strengthening your pigeon form because it tends to be a space when, even if we do it in chair here, it's still, we already stretched it. Remember, I gave you the figure 4 on the back. So I'd really rather have you try to activate, which means press the right outer foot down, press the outer right shin down, and the back foot, the toes tuck and pull your weight back via like the heel. So the legs are like really working here still. So we are bridging our game into stretch, but you're lengthening through your core up. All right. Remember, pigeon initially was a strengthening posture. It's like a type of lunge. Okay, now big inhale. We're just going to simply plant our hands, right leg back, shake it out, and we're just going to go to our second side. Okay, after you neutralize your sensations, I'm a big fan of just kind of moving in ways that reduce any residual tensions from a position, especially if you're new to it. Okay, left shin forward, crawl right foot back. So again, your right hip's going to kind of want to lift. Your right hip want to go down a little bit too, okay? Remember I said your front leg presses down, so your left shin. Nice. Yeah, and eventually you could try, once you're getting really strong here, you want to push the outer edge of your left foot down so much, it's almost like you feel your ankle bone lift. So you're pressing the outer edge of your foot down so much here that this bone might like kind of start lifting off the floor. Now that's very difficult, but just so you get that food for thought. Lift that chest, yogis. Lengthen through your side bodies. This is a back bend. You do want to kind of work a little bit of posterior tilt too. So if you overarch the back here, it's like a little pulling into the belly, okay? It's kind of always the thing, whether it's, lunge here, a little bit of that, or whether it's here, it's a little bit of that, okay? Look to see, get better at noticing when the tension of the position pulls you back into hyperarching and just a little bit against that, okay? So that's a very active form of a pigeon stretch. I do a lot of the
more strong versions where we move up and down. So, eventually you're getting good at this. You start to even go a little forward intentionally and then back up. But, just to let you know where you're headed so you can add it on a good day. You start to basically press down so much, lift up. Okay. Now I want you to kind of pace it out on your own. I saw some of you took a little bit longer to get in there, so you eventually just shake your leg out. Now, we are going to go for a big stretch here. I love the Virasana style. It's the deep bending of your knee and the extension of the body, which means basically going backward. I'm going to go for the full Vira today, which is the knees together. So pigeon has the asymmetrical legs. It's more a hip flexor release. This is now the quads, the shins, knees together. You're going to slowly try to slide your butt between your heels. So we're getting this stretching. We are going to do frog today next. So you got a couple big stretches right there. I can't fit my hand in there. My feet are not wide. I want to sit up tall, hands go back, and I start to lean back. Don't forget that this is a shoulder stretch here, where I'm lifting the chest, rolling my shoulders up and back, or down and back, excuse me. With practice, forearms, big shoulder, chest opener, head can fall back. With practice, head, upper back down. Deep breathing, please.
Yeah, let's slow down a little bit. We were moving through all practice today. Not too much breath awareness. Come back to your mouth, your nasal breathing. Close the mouth. I've mentioned it. It's been a while, but that practice called, you guys heard of that practice called like mewing? It's basically like tongue exercise. I wanted to do it. I have this workshop plan called Subtle Yoga where we do all this jaw work, and then we do a lot of these cheekbone muscle work, eyebrow work. But there's this tongue work where you press the tongue in all these different spots in the mouth, and then you do this thing where you put the tongue like back deep in the back of the mouth up. You slide it forward a lot on top of the mouth, and you do it reversed. So you start with the tip of the tongue. If you feel your tongue right behind your teeth, there's like this smooth little area, but then it like drops off and it's like rougher. So you start with your tongue on that smooth part right by the base of the teeth. And then you run the tip of your tongue. There's a lot of these exercises, by the way. And it runs across. So we're basically exercising the tongue. Tongue is a muscle, and it basically controls like all this, okay? There's a lot of these like tongue exercises. I really like to hopefully teach that here on Zoom before, if Zoom practice ever ends. So we'll do that workshop one of these Sundays. All right. So when you're done there, let's slowly exit. Now, our final big stretcher class, we already did straddle. I'm not going to do the big hamstring stretch. We did a few of those, touch our toes. We did active on our back. I want to do like a big medial thigh. It's been a thing we've been doing today. Okay. So I want to get like a peak going. This would be the easy version, but you already did that. So frog is the big one. You would start in tabletop and you basically widen your knees. Remember, you want to pad your knees. The objective is to turn the inner edge of your knee and shin down, whereas pigeon is the outer edge of your knee and shin. So think of it almost like the opposite. Your feet go wide and knees go wide. And then my hips, the main mistake people usually make is the hips go way forward. Don't do that. Try to get, your hips move down. Just notice as my hips went lower, my upper body does. So I can eventually land on the chest here. The goal is to feel tension. Remember we did this posture in the beginning? It's basically the same. My knees are being pushed open via the weight. So I'm going to feel a big stretch really on the inner thigh. Okay? So if you can't do that, another nice substitute, that tends to be pretty tough for a lot of us. My butt goes against the wall and I let my legs fall open here.
That's basically the same thing. You know, you're going to get more of that hamstring if you're not flexible, but this is a nice way to do it as well. Okay, my butt's against the wall, my legs are just getting heavy opening. Let's take a few more breaths here. So basically, you want to work eventually down to your forearms. And then, like I said, you can eventually lay on your chest here. But just don't let those hips go forward. Hips stay back in line with the knee. Hold position and breathe, please.
I've often mentioned how sometimes yoga classes start in this position. It's crazy, right? But this is a muscle that's usually what's called like stuck short. Basically, it's always in a shortened position. People have trouble spreading their legs because the legs are always together, right? Even if you go forward and back, they're not lengthening. Yeah. So widening the legs, very not normal in life, okay? So when you're done there, press through your hands. Now listen, yogis, we have about, it is 9:57, so we're here at the end of practice. I want to give you a minute or two for a posture you feel like you need. If we did some deep twists. We did one on the back, we did one in the lunge. But if you feel like you wanted another twist, one seated here might be good. That'd probably be deepest twist for most of us. But if you wanted a little bit more of a resting posture, something like this, if you didn't get an inversion and you wanted to throw your legs up, you could do this, get that drainage, that elevation. If your upper back and neck are sore, the restorative fish is a go-to of mine. Block under my upper back. And since this is the end of class, you can carefully let your head go all the way to the floor, stretching front of the front of the neck out, okay? So I gave, legs up on the block, restorative fish, or a seated twist. But if there's any one last posture you want to do, now would be the time. We did a few, a couple big stretches there. Frog, Vera, and active pigeon. It doesn't get much bigger than that. So take another minute and a half. Close up your physical practice so we can do our closing meditation. So a couple of you have asked me, sorry about the evening classes. All the gyms have opened, I've been covering. So next Monday, I'm also subbing. It's not my permanent class, but I am subbing a class, covering for a teacher who's out of town. I'm trying to help out there. And but next Wednesday, right now, is open for me. So I will be teaching, hopefully, on Zoom next Wednesday. If I'm not teaching somewhere, I'll teach on Zoom for sure. So far, the schedule is still the same. I apologize for some of these late cancellations. My job, Equinox, they let go of hundreds of teachers because they didn't want to come back to teach. So they don't have as many subs, and all the teachers have gotten a lot of classes. I accepted 8, and they're like begging me to help. They actually paid me time and a half to sub. So I'll let you guys know as soon as possible if I do have to cancel a class, but the mornings are definitely still on. I'm not going to cancel those, even the sub, and the weekends are definitely on. All right. So here we go, guys. Let's do our closing meditation. Can't skip dessert. Save room for dessert. So if you want to sit and meditate, there are days that, if you're feeling up to it and good, it is good to start mixing that in, especially if you're getting good at Shavasana. It's always good to sit up against a wall or on a little block because we don't want it to be strenuous. You find a way to sit that's most comfortable. And the idea is to just become very still, centered, and calm. Just become very present with yourself here, not doing much physically or mentally. Just kind of giving your mind and body and breath a rest here, okay? So you find that final position. You close your eyes. Maybe you take one last deep breath here. And then it's just about 3 minutes. Final position, conscious relaxation.